This race we qualified great because we are using a softer tire. There's potentially some change in weather, so we can cover the change in weather without having to run high fuel and pit straight away and lose time. We dropped a few places because our qualifying was a bit better than our race pace. We already mentioned the last video where our driver has 77 experience, but that is actually a bit more than our rivals because we are consistently doing a bit slower in the race compared to qualifying. And we can see our lap time is quite good for the first stint. You can see our best lap time is 32 seconds and the top rival fastest time currently is 31.5. But as the race goes on, we lose a bit of time because our rivals are setting those lap times using a harder tire and the driver makes a bit less mistakes than ours. We can see our finishing time is okay and we finished 20th or so, which is slightly lower than expectations. And our best lap time obviously is very quick, and the fastest lap in our group is 29.3 and we did 30.1, which is 0.8 seconds slower. A lot of our rivals were able to have a superb race even doing one pit stop for this track. The surprising thing for this race is that our driver made a lot of mistakes. I had a look at the race replay and the driver made the mistake on his own. It was a clear track risk, but after a careful fall, I think for the past few races we increased the overtake risk by 5 points or so, and our driver started making mistakes last race. So I think potentially the overtaking risk is too high, so we need to reduce it a bit. And last season we already saw with our old driver where we already have the max overtaking risk. If we put it a bit higher, our driver broke a car part and had to do a pit stop. Luckily with this driver, he doesn't break car parts but make track mistakes instead, which is much less penalized than having to pit. I forgot about this because I didn't realize that our driver is making, our previous driver already was on the limit with the overtaking risk. So that's why I didn't reduce this risk at all for this race, and I thought potentially it's the clear and dry risk. And we can see last race we had a super high clear risk and our driver made less mistakes than the race we did right now, because this race has a bit more difficult to overtake and have to make a lot of maneuvers. If we look at our race replay into our calculator tool, we can see the stamina drain was a bit lower than previous race, so we can come to the conclusion that the drain is a bit dependent on the track, which we also saw last season with our driver, but also has a bit to do with the overtake risk and how difficult the track is overtaking, and that will also affect our stamina drain a bit. And our driver still had 57% stamina left. Our driver drained 57 points of stamina and had 20 left, and for the race we are going to be about near the 100% mark. We can see our tire wear was exactly the same as what we calculated. It was virtually spot on with 0.5% error, so we know that our calculation is accurate with our offset values, which we need to add a 5% more wear, but some tracks is 5% less. We look at the race that we're going to do and copy it into the calculator tool and look at the past race results. This track is optimum with a 1 or 2 pit stop, and the calculator tool suggests doing a 1 pit stop. Since there's a lot more people in our group, doing 1 less pit stop would potentially allow us to do a bit better. That's why our first race results were a bit better than our second race. We finished 18 for the first race, and second race we finished 26. And first race we decided to do 1 less pit stop than the suggested one to lose less time during overtaking. So I think it will potentially help. We also want to reduce our driver risk a bit, since for the first race that was very on limit before our drivers start making mistakes, so we reduced the first race risk by 2 points, and we will get these 2 values. Nothing it would help with preventing our driver from making mistakes. We're going to look at the sponsor negotiation. I think the progress was 10% last race, and suddenly we got a 7% boost in the progress because we updated our facilities for sponsors to get it quicker. And we want to make sure that we click either the engine cover or the side pods to prevent accidentally having the sponsor in one of the car parts we already have. I think the engine cover is worth a bit more money, so we would do this. We're going to train our driver again to reduce the weight because it's the most efficient way. If we look at the car wear, surprisingly we only have to replace 2 parts and it's already at max wear. So this time is a bit more efficient. If we upgrade these 2 parts, then we would have enough wear to finish the race. And we got 3 car points from the testing we did first race. We then copied the calculated wear into our calculator tool. After the upgrades, we finally got 5 bars for our car performance, but we're still quite low in the car performance ranking. But I think from top 20th onward until top 4, the car performance is quite similar. If we use the hard tires, we can have good amount of wear on the tires and not underutilize it. We entered the tire wear after applying the offset into our calculator tool. If we look at this track, it's very difficult to overtake, so we want to set our strategy to maximize the first stint tire wear and push the tires very hard so we don't get stuck behind others as long. And we can do 40 laps and have 9% tire wear left, and that should be comfortable enough. We also entered the fuel required into our calculator tool. We're going to find the setup for the race. We found the final setup and we're going to find the wing split. We used the wing split in between 6 and 7 and had the best lap time, and we're going to do the qualifying. The qualifying time is quite good because it's less than 0.3 off the best time. We entered the setup and we entered the fuel required. We're reducing the overtaking risk to what we want before we forget about it. You can see our qualifying time is quite good and consistent. Even with the higher fuel load, we are only about 1 second slower from Q1. And I think our lap time is quite close to top 7 qualifying. We're 0.8 seconds slower. Even with the harder tires, we still qualified okay. We entered the setup and the boost laps, and we entered the fuel required.